So today I had the pleasure of speaking to the founders, creators, and the creative director of the Oceanhorn series. They're about to release their Oceanhorn 3, which comes out on March 5th, and I'm somebody who played the original Oceanhorn game on iPhone back in 2013 when it released, and I remember at that time it was something amazing. It was one of the first few true RPG games that had console level quality graphics, and then also supported MFI controllers back in the day, during a time where controllers on iOS and iPadOS devices, before it was even iPadOS, were very rare, as opposed to now, where pretty much every game supports controllers now. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation between myself, Heikki, and Antti, the founders and creators of Oceanhorn 3. We talk about their experience with gaming, what it's like being an App Store developer, what it's like being part of Apple Arcade, and of course, the gameplay of Oceanhorn 3 and the inspiration that came with it. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Enjoy. Awesome. Well, I mean, thank you guys for taking the time to talk to me about Oceanhorn, the Oceanhorn 3. I actually remember this game, the first one, over a decade ago, 12 years ago maybe, when it came out on iOS. And this was like the very beginning of true iOS gaming. You know, we were getting past the Flappy Birds, the iCopters, the Temple Runs and things. Even Temple Run at that point was probably kind of intense. But yeah, I remember being that was the first kind of true RPG open world playable game that kind of came out to iOS that really intrigued me. So I'm gonna kind of open up the floor to you guys a little bit and kind of walk me through first how it came about, whose idea was it. I'm sure when things were a little bit more constrained back then from a performance standpoint, what were you guys' thought process in terms of how amazing you can make it versus kind of working with those limitations? So the floor is yours to kind of intro the Oceanhorn series up a little bit for me.
Yeah, so the story of Oceanhorn actually started like when we founded our company in
Mm-hmm.
2010, uh, from with the idea that we want to create these console quality games for iPhones. And
Mm-hmm.
later that year, first iPad came, so that was a great opportunity to make games for a little bit bigger screen. So it
Yes.
started with that idea.
Okay. And then do you guys come from a like a playing background, a game development background? Like what games did you guys play to make you really kind of jump into this world? You know, were you into
No,
Pokemon, into
actually,
RuneScapes, into things like Final Fantasy, you know?
yeah, Heikki can talk about the gaming influences, but we actually worked together in another mobile studio here in Helsinki.
Okay.
Actually, with Heikki and my brother Jukka and myself, we had this company Universomo where we worked together, and that was owned by THQ. But then I guess it was like 2008 or 9 when things started to go haywire
Hmm.
with
With
THQ.
like a worldwide recession, and that was the
Yeah.
starting point for our company,
Yeah,
basically.
THQ shut down all the
Yeah,
studios, and that was the inspiration for us to
yeah,
build something of our own.
yeah. And of course, if you're a game developer, you kind of dream of having your own game studio. And
Hmm.
what kind of games you dream of making is exactly this type of adventure games. Basically, at the time, it was sort of nostalgic from the 90s, these Zelda-like games. And that in that period of time, it wasn't even so popular as it is today with the indie games doing Zelda-likes and this type of games. But what I felt like that was the kind of appreciation for this kind of old school game
Hmm.
was was not so high, but we were kind of thinking that we should definitely make this, but in 3D, these 2D Zelda type or Secret of Mana style games, but
Yeah.
from a 3D perspective.
No, I mean, I remember even for myself back in the day, there was an app on Windows called like RPG Maker, and I would sit there for days and weeks just making these 2D kind of pixelated games. So I'm sure bringing the whole 3D aspect. Again, this is 2000. I think Oceanhorn 1 came out in 2012, 2013. Correct me if I'm wrong.
2013, yes,
13.
exactly.
2013. Okay. So again, to kind of paint that landscape, you know, what was the gaming, the mobile gaming landscape like, right? It was still in its infancy, in my opinion, right? I feel like Android had a little bit more going, but then iOS was coming around the corner, finally opening up the doors to more developers. So talk to me about the that to contextualize what that time looked like in mobile gaming.
Yeah, so when we started out, like the App Store was still quite a new thing uh,
Hmm.
for Apple too, and at the time when we were developing Oceanhorn 1, the App Store had a lot of these $1 apps,
Oh yeah.
which were like a beer drinking apps or something
Oh
like that.
yeah.
So it
Absolutely.
was a little bit of nerve wracking when we were developing this kind of larger scale game, when
Hmm.
we saw kind of a premium or the app prices going towards the
Yeah,
99 cents. And
yeah, it was like the prices were like racing to the bottom, and we were like, are we really going to sell this for $1? We have like
Yeah.
put our heart to it, and
yeah,
luckily,
luckily there was like a room also for more let's say like a meteor experiences,
yeah,
something
Hmm.
that people could really delve into and spend time in that game world. So uh, that was the time when premium games were still a thing. Like go forward 5 years, and we're going towards the free to play era. But we managed to release Oceanhorn one on such an era that the premium apps were really on demand, and also something that could be marketed on App Store really well and received.
Hmm.
yeah. I
No, that's
guess
true.
big thanks goes to our publisher at the time, FDG. They were like,
Hmm.
we were thinking that, okay, should we sell this for a lower price? And they were like, no, you double the price. What were you thinking? Like, let's go
Yeah.
higher. Why should we go lower?
Mm.
And
No.
that worked for us.
I remember there was definitely an itch, even for myself, to get those premium style games because there was only so much you could do with the 99-cent games, right? It's like get a high
Yeah,
score, like I keep saying, like the iCopter, the Flappy Bird. What was the other one where you would throw like a piece of paper into a garbage bag or a
yeah,
garbage
Yes.
bin
exactly.
with the little fan moving the wind? And even at that time, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So I definitely think there was like an appetite for you would see a game that was 9.99 or nineteen ninety
Mm.
nine or something like that, and
Yeah.
you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
If, you're kind of portraying like, okay, this is different. This isn't just something to waste time on, to spend 10 minutes on. This is for
Exactly.
you to kind of sit there
Yeah.
and really game and put some effort and time into it and eventually fall in love with that game. Um, so, I mean, kudos to you guys for really getting it off the door or off the ground
Yeah.
running that
Yeah,
early.
sometimes we have been thinking, because when we develop these games, they're quite long projects. Like this one,
Hmm.
we have been working for like 5 years this time too. So sometimes we kind of joke that we never got the note that the premium games are dead. We just
We
keep making
continued
this. Yeah,
developing.
yeah, we love
Yeah.
doing this type of thing, and well, it
Hmm.
has worked well for us before. And Oceanhorn 3 is our like most ambitious game yet, and we have no kind of worries that if it's gonna find its audience, because already from the first kind of reception in
Hmm.
YouTube has been really positive, and
Yeah.
people are excited about the game.
No, absolutely. And then to kind of segue into Oceanhorn 3, first I kind of want to understand a little bit more to kind of, because I like to tell the kind of contextualize everything for the viewers and the listeners in terms of how hard it was to get that good of a game off the ground on 2013 hardware, right? Especially in the mobile space. Yes, we had the iPad, so you had the larger display. So talk to me a little bit about what it's like, it was like working on those types of chipsets and hardware versus how far we've come now, 12, 13 years later, where you have M5 processors in a 5.1 millimeter thin iPad, things like that.
Yeah. I guess it's always so that you want to have more, more like
Yeah.
computing power. Always the high end feels like, okay, this should be, this is like the thing that we want to do. But then we go
Hmm.
5 years forward. It's crazy how these
Yeah,
things.
and that was actually one of our kind of leading thoughts when we started making Oceanhorn 2 after Oceanhorn 1, was that
Hmm.
we need to think about the processing power of phones like 5 years from now.
Yeah,
So we were targeting higher polygon count, and we were doing a bigger kind of, and it is Unreal Engine game, so there's that too. So already, and that was 10 years ago when we started to make that one. So we were already kind of looking ahead towards
Hmm.
uh, basically this time and age, because now if we look at the iPhones and iPads and Macs, so they share sometimes the same chipset, so
Yep.
the kind of barriers between these devices are kind of dissolving.
Yeah,
So we
absolutely.
have more power. Of course, we ourselves we support also the previous generations of devices, so we don't yet get to enjoy that raw power of the
Mm-hmm.
latest hardware, because we want that also those who doesn't yet have the latest hardware can enjoy our game.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess our motto kind of is that it has to feel great on all devices, but it
Yeah.
has to shine on the latest ones.
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
way to put it.
That's awesome. And how do you guys go about making those types of decisions? Because like you said, you have the M5 iPad Pro, which can handle almost anything you throw at it, but like there's still people that have a 5, 6 year old iPad that still works perfectly fine for the most part, and you want them to be able to jump on there. Is there is there like a separation in terms of what can be done on each of them, or is it consistent across the board? What
I
are some of those
think you
choices that you guys have made?
definitely have to make some smart decisions
Mm-hmm.
throughout the game development process. So we have to design for it. You have to definitely take that into account when you're creating the content, and then when you're kind of finally optimizing, then you can do some simple decisions. Can this hardware run, let's say, real-time planar reflections or not?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's easy if you have planned ahead.
Mm,
So we
yeah.
don't want to end up in a situation where we have this beautiful console quality game running on the high-end Mac, and then we are like, oh, it was supposed to run on iPhone SE also.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So here we actually have a quite wide range of devices that we constantly play the game with. Like the game is developed with Macs, uh, partially, but and every night we test on our phones. Like we have daily
Okay.
builds going, and we can play it on our phone. So basically, we don't do it like we would do this video game and then port it to all these devices.
yeah,
Yeah.
But the kind of all the time we're playing it on our phones and kind of trying to find the right balance. And exactly like Antti said, that there are certain switches that we can switch on and off, but
Mm-hmm.
basically it needs to be planned out the game content, because for example if you have large maps, those maps cannot have any switches, like we don't show this or that. The game content kind of needs to work both on the low end and the high end devices.
No,
And
of
of
course.
course, since we're making a latest installment in the series, it needs to look as best as it can. So it can
Mm-hmm.
be kind of challenging to balance, because we also support mostly the same devices as we supported with Oceanhorn 2. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
but trying to raise the bar
yeah.
still.
So the gap between the oldest devices and the newest devices is getting wider and wider,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
and that's
people want
that's a,
that support for a little longer. They want their hardware to last longer, which makes
yeah,
complete
yeah, and
sense.
something I really like that. That's great. Like you can use that. Like we
Mm-hmm.
have a I don't know 12 years old Mac at home, and it has no problems at all
Yeah, it's
working. And
crazy. It's
yeah,
crazy how
and
good the hardware's gotten.
yep, exactly. And I have a M1 Max MacBook Pro, which I use to develop this game, and it's
Mm-hmm.
I'm like thinking that it's been 5 years and I've never had any issues. But I
Oh,
did buy the 64 gigabytes of memory at
you
that
had to
time.
future-proof yourself a little bit, you know?
Yes,
yeah,
It
exactly.
is. It is amazing. I mean, kudos to Apple. When they went from Intel to M1, insane. The leap. The
Yep.
leap that they made was insane.
yes,
Even just day-to-day use, not even from a gaming perspective or development
yeah,
perspective, but so many things
yeah.
opening instantaneously, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and the laptop is like truly a mobile thing now. You can,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the battery lasts for more than like half
Yeah.
an hour.
Yep.
That's the
And it doesn't sound like an airplane trying to take off anymore, you know?
yes, yeah,
But I mean, speaking of Apple and their chipsets, so back then, I'm sure there was some sort of machine learning and things happening back then to an extent, but obviously things have been evolving pretty rapidly into the whole Apple Intelligence, AI, everything that comes with that, and all the different assistants that we have nowadays. So, what did you guys implement any of that? What kind of use cases did you have for that, if any? Did it help you? Did it like stunt creative freedom a little bit? How did that all kind of play into your development of the third Oceanhorn?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of curious about all things technology, and of course, AI has been there for the most part of duration of like this game's production too. But we
Mm-hmm.
don't really use AI unless it's like a spell checking or something because we're not
Okay.
native English speakers, so it's really useful for that kind of stuff
Mm-hmm.
for us. But like I was curious at some point of all the possibilities because our games have really kind of deep lore, and we have been building up this Bible of lore.
Yeah.
So I was kind of thinking that it would be really cool if we had NPCs that could have an access to certain parts of that lore that could generate some like
Ooh, that's a cool
dialogue
idea.
from that. So there are like really cool like a potential to do stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess we are also so small team. We're just a team of 9 people, so we never really have that extra programmer to go investigate this,
Yeah.
Yeah,
go investigate
yeah,
that. We need to do the research first, and then we
yes,
just
yeah.
are hard at work with the game.
We don't have a separate research
Yeah,
department.
No,
exactly.
it's only 9 of you. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You
yeah.
would think it's a
We're
much bigger production.
yeah. I think that's always been something we are kind of. On the other hand, we really would like to kind of announce that hey, we're such a small team, we made a
Yeah.
great game. But on the other hand, we like that the game looks polished and like looks like a proper production. So we're not
Hmm.
really doing that indie thing either.
Absolutely.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but we have grown a lot. Like Oceanhorn one was the core team was just 3 of us, Antti's
Hmm.
brother Jukka and me and Antti. And also on two, the team was like 6 people, and now we're 9. So it's
Yeah.
gradual growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a 50% increase if you to ask
Yeah,
anybody, you
Right.
know?
Right.
yeah,
That's
yes.
awesome. But then in terms of so Oceanhorn 3 itself, the gameplay, we have different form factors that we use that all are kind of in the same ecosystem. You have the iOS, iPad OS, Mac OS, TV OS as well, and it keeps Vision OS. It keeps evolving more and more. People play games in different ways, like they play with on-screen controls, they play with MFI controllers. Now Xbox, PlayStation, even the PlayStation like virtual reality ones that you can get in with the Vision OS. So do you guys take all that into account, or is it just kind of one perfect way to play it? Do you think people have the same experience if they use on-screen controls versus a dedicated controller? How much of that is in your mind when you are kind of creating these games?
Hmm. I think with this title, when we started, we knew that it's gonna be on Apple TV and on Mac.
Mm-hmm.
So we were considering like the keyboard and mouse
Yeah.
controls, for example, much more than we have done previously early on. But we basically start from the touchscreen like experience, and we
Okay.
really love to play on touchscreen uh, on mobile. So, for example, there are some um, unique design, uh, game design stuff that we've done before, like in Oceanhorn 1, because the screen size was much smaller. We used to have like an auto jump there. It was not
Mm-hmm.
very popular among the players, and the jump button was very much required for Oceanhorn 3. So,
Uh-huh.
and we did that. It is there now. But we always want to make sure that it works. And now the screen size of the phones are much bigger, so there are more space for the buttons.
Mm-hmm.
But we also had like early on this kind of motto that there should only be one action button on screen because everything else is more complicated. But gradually we have there learned how to make the controls work on touch much better.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think Oceanhorn 1 was one of the first games to have this kind of virtual stick that was
Yeah,
Yeah.
invisible on the screen. That was a new thing
yeah,
at that time.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember that. I remember
But
also Oceanhorn 1 was one of the first games to allow for game controllers, right? Because
yeah,
one of the first
it
few I
was.
remember that was because I remember way back in the day I would look for games that you could use, an external controller for. Because I always thought
Yeah,
like, oh, these displays are great, like people should be optimizing
yeah,
for this display, but with a controller.
Yeah.
And Oceanhorn is one of the few early on that did that.
yeah,
You
it
know?
was indeed. It was. It has been fun following this kind of where does it go, and this Apple's
Mm-hmm.
approach now that you have support for any controller, that's like
Oh, amazing.
optimal solution for
Yeah,
us. So good.
yeah, these like backbones and controllers like that. We love those.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and just pick a PS5 controller and you can
Exactly.
enjoy the
So I feel
game.
like
So
most
good.
people nowadays have some sort of Xbox or PlayStation controller laying around, and they're able to
Yeah,
just connect them. So I mean, one other thing before we get into the Oceanhorn 3, like the lore and the actual story of the game. Of course, before when Oceanhorn 1 first came out, came into the regular App Store. There was no Apple Arcade yet, so there
Yeah.
was no option to go into there. So talk to me a little bit about what that process is like, to whatever extent that you can, in terms of what you get out of it, why you did it, what positive impact it had, things like that. Going from regular App Store with in-app purchases, even, or just to purchasing the game. I'm sorry, and then moving over to Apple Arcade.
Yeah, I
I
think one big thing at least is that within this subscription service, we don't have to worry about how the
Hmm.
monetization loop works or stuff like that. We can just focus on making a good game.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
that's the like the biggest benefit for a developer like us is that we are not interested in in-app purchases or many of the metrics that are driving
Yeah.
this sort of mobile gaming scene, but we want to create an adventure that is as fun as possible and
Hmm.
kind of concentrate on that. But since you were talking about the transition, Oceanhorn 2 was actually quite a gamble for us
Hmm.
because we when we started, Oceanhorn 1 had sold really well as a premium title, and it was kind of financing our Oceanhorn 2's production for many, many years. But at the same time, we saw that nobody was making premium games anymore. And we were
Oh
planning to
yeah.
release Oceanhorn 2 as a premium game, and we're really thinking that can we get the kind of investment back with the
yeah,
$20 price point, or should are we brave enough to price the game for $20? So actually, when the Apple Arcade game came and Oceanhorn 2 was one of the first really like the release titles for the service, that was almost like a saving grace for that title because we were so focused on making the best possible adventure game
Hmm.
for iPhones and iPads, but the premium market was really unstable. So I
True.
don't know. We've have always had that feeling that like we have really benefited from this cooperation with Apple, and
Hmm.
we love making these games for Apple Arcade because, uh, for example, Oceanhorn 3 was possible thanks to Apple kind of supporting us and financing the production.
No, that's amazing. I mean, I've been a fan of Apple Arcade since the beginning, even when they only had a few titles. Just because I love the recurring nature of it. There's no in-app purchases. I now have a couple kids. One of them is old enough to accidentally press a bunch of in-app purchase buttons that I don't want them to
yeah,
get involved in. And again, the whole transactional nature and microtransactions and other games, and like I get it. I understand the necessary evil of what's going on over there, but it does take away from the game, no matter how you cut it, whether you wanted to do it free or you want to pay to continue on. So I'm glad that you guys are part of Apple Arcade. It's much easier to just kind of download the game, play it. You know that nothing is going to pop up in your face that doesn't involve the game. And I'm sure, like you said, the Apple's very good at amplifying developers and games that deserve to be amplified, from what I've seen.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I do have to say that the fact that Oceanhorn 3 actually now comes out in Apple Arcade is a really positive message too. Like games
Hmm.
like this are being made, they're being published, and like somebody out there wants to invest into experiences like this.
Yeah,
So that's a great news.
absolutely. So now to get into the story a little bit of Oceanhorn 3. If I was somebody who had never heard of Oceanhorn, was jumping into the App Store, saw that it released, what's like a 30-second kind of synopsis of what the story is and what to expect out of Oceanhorn 3?
Yeah, I would say that even though we are at the third part of the game series, every
Hmm.
game is a standalone story, and we really want to take you on an adventure, like have this kind of a globe-trotting adventure, sailing the seas and exploring new lands and discovering new lore and mysteries in this fantasy world.
That makes sense. No, absolutely. And I think it's a great adventure game. It's you kind of get involved in the world, or the world kind of evolves around you as well. And it's just fun to spend half an hour a day playing, especially in a world where, again, these games are just trying to make you play for a minute or two and spend their jewels and their coins or whatever to advance through it. So another question that I did have, because I know that we're not dealing with a lot of I'm just more so curious about the Vision OS of it all. Have you guys put some thought into that in any capacity in terms of kind of really taking advantage of what that could bring, even if it is just sort of like a for marketing sake, maybe a little snippet of the game that could be a 3D environment that you can play around in, something like that.
Yeah, I think since we're based in Finland, for the longest of time, the Vision Pro wasn't available in Finland.
Very true.
I've been in this game development cave now, so I haven't checked recently. But I'm personally a big fan of VR. I love VR since the early days. I've been following that, so I've been wanting to have a Vision Pro for the longest of time. So unfortunately, we haven't tested the game on Vision Pro here.
Hmm.
I think somebody else has, but here we haven't like tested that. But I would really love to go into that direction if because this kind of game world would really
Yeah,
benefit
and
from
I,
that.
I, I
Hmm.
think the first person view like that we have now in the new game is a kind of step to that direction that would be
Agreed.
easy to
Yeah,
imagine.
there are those like certain steps that we could go through to kind of
Hmm.
make it happen. But of course, it's something we haven't yet planned. But it's of course something that is exciting.
No, yeah, I mean, like I could see a lot of different, like you said, it's a kind of open world, and you want to immerse yourself as much as possible. So even as kind of like a little teaser or marketing, kind of like downloadable or something on Vision
Yeah,
OS, because again, I know that the amount of customers or people that have access to a Vision Pro is much smaller. One millionth of the amount of people that have iPhones. But it'd be cool. Again, like a little teaser
Yeah,
if you go into the Apple Store as a demo and they show off
yeah.
Oceanhorn 3. That'd be awesome, I think.
that would be great. And like Unreal Engine has a great support for like a VR hardware. So
Hmm.
maybe who knows?
Yeah. Are there any plans for? Because of course it's a mobile game, so after the launch, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fanfare, which is March 5th, correct? Yes, March 5th for
Yeah.
the game launch.
Yes.
Will there be any additional content after the fact? Is there some sort of a roadmap to maybe some other interactive things that people can expect when it comes to the game itself?
Yeah, definitely. At least we can say that if you play through the game and you will see the end credits, that's not the end of the game. So
Ooh, okay. So there will
Yeah,
be
there
some
will be
DLC.
more.
there will be more like yeah, sort of like traditional DLC. So
Hmm.
we have some quite exciting story heavy updates coming. Multiple of them
Yeah,
actually later down the year. So this is a year of Oceanhorn 3. So we have exciting stuff coming up.
definitely.
That's amazing. Is there anything else you guys want to mention about Oceanhorn 3 itself? Like what people should really look for? Maybe the best way, your favorite way to play it? Is it on the iPhone, the iPad, without a controller? Just to experience it the best way possible on launch day.
I think the best possible is the device that you will have access to, and probably the latest device is the best
Hmm.
possible experience to play Oceanhorn 3 with. So it's what should we say about the launch day? I think it's a meaty experience that takes several hours to complete. So
Hmm.
and we try to kind of get this atmosphere where it's kind of relaxed exploration type of
Yeah.
thing rather than trying to get to the next goal. So it's something you can easily relax with on your evenings.
Yeah. And that's what I've noticed. It's kind of like this awesome combination of I'm not to oversimplify it with like an Animal Crossing, but like something like that where you can kind of play, you can look around. Obviously, there's objectives to be made, and you want to get from level to level, but you can kind of spend some time looking around, and it's a quaint environment sometimes, and the music is fantastic, and it's easy to just kind of get lost in it without feeling the pressure of continuously trying to beat the game as fast as you can.
Yeah,
So I think,
so we
which
have
I think
this
is awesome.
certain yeah, we have this certain rhythm to the game where every now and then we open up the game for you to explore in peace, and then there are more kind of linear parts where you're taking in the story or you meet with new characters, and then again you're sailing and coming to a new island where there's a
Hmm.
whole new world for you to explore. So we want to get you to this kind of a rhythm of an adventure there.
Yeah, my personal favorite is the tarot card game that you can spend hours playing inside the game.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Co-
collecting the cards.
Collecting the cards and playing the game.
Which is a nice little, especially in today's world. Collectibles are crazy right now, so that's a good way
Yeah.
to to throw it in there, to get people like another level of attachment, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
which is awesome. But beautiful, gentlemen. I mean, I guess one last question is, what's next for you guys in terms of Cornfox and Brothers as a studio? Is there? I'm sure you guys have been, like you said, game was 5 years in development. I'm sure maybe there's already inklings of another one, kind of in the back of the mind a little bit. Or if there's anything
Yeah.
else that maybe is outside of the Oceanhorn series that you guys are excited about.
One thing that is really fun with this when you're focusing on this game series, because the last moments when you're developing the previous games, you already have these new ideas for the next one, and they
Hmm.
start for the years you're kind of thinking about the story where it's taking you or this game world, like which part kind of opens up either from the history or the future of the game world, and then you start piecing in the puzzle because making a story or like the game design for a game like this is like coming up with the puzzle pieces you're
Yeah.
fitting together, and that starts long before you have anything written down or anything done in the game engine. It's long
Yeah.
before that. So we are now in that part where we're basically have a lot of pieces on the table and we're thinking about what cool can we make out of this.
Yeah. And then actually to go off that, what decides, because again, this is something that can be updated over time. So what decides going from being, a new update that comes in, in a month or something that's a completely new game? What kind of decisions are made from that standpoint?
Yeah, I would say definitely these updates that are coming are sort of like stretch goals for us. Like, wouldn't it be cool if, in addition to this core thing, we would have this thing that would really underline the whole narrative or the whole journey? And
Hmm.
those kind of things are very natural then to come as an update because you have that extra time after the launch to make these new kind of improvements to the game or additions to the game. And the new ideas are really like long winding stuff. You could get
Okay.
excited. You could get excited from the fact that okay, what if this happened in this game world, and it starts a kind of a whole new trajectory to the story. And
Hmm.
also now we're talking about the third part in the whole series. So we have like old fans who played Oceanhorn 1 and 2. So you're also thinking about that. Okay, this will surprise these guys, or
Yeah.
like they never saw this coming.
Yeah. Or like little Easter eggs for people from the first game and things like that that could also be
Yeah,
thought about,
yeah. Yep,
That's
exactly.
amazing. No, nostalgia is something nice to pull on nowadays, which is
Mm-hmm.
awesome to
Mm,
have.
yeah, yeah, it's true. Like also, I feel like there is the nostalgic thing too, but
Hmm.
then when it serves sort of this synergy to the what you're trying to tell with the game, then you get like extra boost from this. Like for example, Black Hat from Oceanhorn 1 is in Oceanhorn 3, and what kind of service purpose he serves in the game's narrative. It's quite exciting.
And then my last little tidbit: is there any plans to for this to be released outside of Apple Arcade by chance?
We have no plans of
No
doing
plans.
there. Yeah, we are just focusing on this release, definitely. So,
Beautiful.
yep,
Awesome, guys. But I mean, I'm excited for the game. Like I said, it comes out March 5th on Apple Arcade across all the supported devices. So if you have a relatively modern iDevice, it'll work. And apparently it'll work the same way, whether it's a brand new iPad Pro or something a little bit older. So, I mean, I'm excited for it. I've been playing it on the test flight. It's awesome. I was letting my brother play the other day, and he also liked it. He's a big RPG guy. So he'll be
nice.
one of the first customers, at least through Apple Arcade. So kudos to you guys. Very, I'm sure it was a long and arduous journey. How long? You said about 5 years to develop this game from beginning to end,
Yep.
Something
ish.
like that,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a labor of love. I don't know if I've worked
Yeah,
on something for that long. I guess
yeah. It's
The YouTube channel, but outside of that, each one is just
yeah,
one small project.
yeah. It's interesting too because in our previous life we hadn't done anything that takes this many years to complete.
Yeah,
So it's a different mindset, but also I think it's very kind of rewarding, rewarding work,
yeah,
and there are many steps to get into that state where you actually and now we are really enjoying this that we can tell you about this game and talk about it because for the longest of time like we have been just discussing it ourselves here, so now it's great time to talk about it, and in just few days it's out, anybody can play it.
Yeah.
that's awesome. I'm excited, guys. Well, congratulations. Anything else that we should kind of maybe touch on before we jump off? What do you guys think?
Oh, did we miss something? I, I guess not. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything special
Yeah,
to
just
mention.
grab your favorite Apple device and start playing
Yep.
Oh yeah.
next Thursday. Yes.
No, yeah, we definitely will. This will be, like you said, the nighttime kind of casual, relaxing game to kind of
Definitely.
battle through. Awesome,
Yeah.
gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you guys so much.
Yes.
Great.
But that will just about do for this video, everybody. If you did make it to the end, let me know in the comment down below if you guys have played Oceanhorn before. It's something that you guys have seen in the past. Are you excited for the new Oceanhorn 3 series, which is releasing on March 5th on Apple Arcade? So if you're an Apple Arcade subscriber, you get this application as part of your Apple Arcade subscription with no ads, no in-app purchases, and it's a full console quality game. And I've been playing it for a couple days now. Absolutely amazing. But also leave a comment down below of maybe other people that we should interview in the tech space, in the gaming world. Let me know in the comment down below and we'll try to make it happen. But that'll do it for this video. If you guys want to see other interviews like this one, check out Woody's right here. Until next time, I'm Fernando, signing off. Peace.